day one then. Firstly, to say that this camera is shit. This is the camera that replaced the camera that was given to me when my sisters got married. It's the newest camera I've got, and it is rubbish. It doesn't hold charge very well. It messes around with when you put the little stupid cards in. Now it won't charge up, despite having the charger. And I know there's nothing wrong with the charger or the adapter or the mains, because the video recorder that I'm using now is the old Ape-Tech, and it charges that up and it works. So, you know, fuck it. I'm going with the older camera. That's just what I've got to do now. So, with that out of the way, it did make it through this first day until it ran out of charge. So, a roundup of the day then. Let me just get my little book to remind me of all the places that we went. So we began by looking down the road from here, in fact. This is Castel Castello, and there is a little sort of villa thing along the road that I wanted to check out, just to see if it was anything spectacular. Took a few pictures, but of course it was just it was a proper villa. There was somebody living there, so you couldn't exactly go in and have a look. The next place that we looked at was the Basilica Cor Meum. Now, I'm trying to remember exactly where that one is. I believe that it is along the other side of the sort of Freedom Plaza thing, which is just down the road from Castel Castello, and it's the halfway point between there and Roma Termini, which is the major, there's my phone, which is the major train station. And I think it's on the other side there, so I think it's very, very close indeed. But the problem with half of these maps is they don't include everything on it. So anyway, I went into the Basilica Cor Meum, and if I remember rightly, it was quite a nice place. I think that was the one that was terribly, terribly decorated. Anyway, then I went through the Piazza Massimo di Roma Termini, which is basically an area of land, like a bus station really, in front of the train station. And on that corner you've got two buildings. I don't know what the name of the first building is, and I haven't yet worked out if that's part of the museum. I think it is. It's here marked as Terni di Diocleziano and Orla Ottagona. So, not quite sure what that one is. Couldn't get anywhere near it. Thought it might have been a museum. Around the corner was my favourite place, Basilica Santa Maria degli Angeli et di Martiri, which is basically the Basilica of Saint Mary of the Angels and the Martyrs. And the outside looks like it's carved into a wall, a sort of concave wall. And you go into that, and then the church is basically on the inside. It's really nice. It's extremely spacious, very spacious. It's got a little area where you go in, like a vestibule with a big dome, and then the main body of the church, and you can go out into the little garden in the back as well. So I liked that. I think that was my favourite, and I actually had a look at that the night before, took some photos of it at night, because it was in easy walking distance from, you know, the area that I'm living in, well, staying in here. So then I walked along, and you get to the Plaza di Repubblica, which is the square of the square of the Republic. And that has a nice little fountain in it. Well, it's not a little fountain at all, it is huge. And so I happened to have visited that as well the night before. So that was new to me. That was not new to me. And that whole area, minus the Basilica Cor Meum, which is Sacre Coeur, it's Sacred Heart, but the Latin, not the French. But that area, minus that particular church, which I hadn't seen before, was all known to me before today. So then I walked along from that, and I came to, yes, there we are, Santa Maria della Vittoria, which is St Mary of Victory, and that's a little church, and there's basically a crossroads, and you have this monumental sort of sculpture thing with a fountain on one side. On the other side you've got Santa Maria della Vittoria, which you can actually go in and have a look at. That was the one which was terribly cramped. It was like squashed, basically. Didn't particularly like it. Very grandiose, lots of sort of gold plating, but it just like reflected the light into your face as soon as you walked in. The Santa Susanna is across the road from that. Looks identical from the outside, but I don't think you can get in, or I couldn't get in. I think it's a centre where you've actually got a sort of monastic community there. And then on the other side, on the fourth corner, is Santa Bernardo alla Terma, which is where are we? Just having a look to see if it's written down here at all. It's not on here at all. But that's that was a church that was basically just sort of like a sphere, and it was pretty plain and boring compared to the others. So I walked then back towards Roma Termini, but I walked through the little alleyways, and I came to Santa Nicola di Tolentino, which looks to be abandoned, but it's got a lovely little staircase. So outside, when I say little, I mean grandiose, you know. So I sat on there, and then decided that I was going to do the main churches of Christendom outside of the Vatican. So that included number 3, which was the Basilica Saint Mary Major, and that's actually not too far of a walk from that area, and you know, for a minute I thought it was closed because I reached the east end and there's loads of steps up to doors, but it's all barred off. And when I went round the other side of the building, which was a good 10-minute trek, there I found the front and was able to go in. I absolutely love Santa Maria Major, I really do. It's an absolutely beautiful cathedral. It's really, really stunning. It's got some absolutely awesome side chapels. It's got a baldacchino that's placed over a grotto which you can actually get down to. All free. All of this has been free so far. I haven't paid for anything in terms of that, what I visited. You did have to pay about a €3 charge if you wanted to go to the museum, which is basically in the crypt of St Mary Major, and I did, and it was quite reasonable. I enjoyed it anyway. So then I went out, and I have something else written here, so I'm just going to see if I can see where that is on the map, because that's one that I don't automatically remember. I remember that. Yes, so I went to yes, Santa Procida, which is apparently a nice church inside, but I have to say it was closed, so I couldn't get in. And then I came to 2 little churches, but I can't read my writing here. Lavio di Gallino and Santa Vito. And then it was on to Santa Alfonso, which I didn't go in, even though it was open. And then I sort of veered off course because I was trying to go on a straight road between there, Mary Major, and San Giovanni in Laterino, which is basically St John Lateran. St John Lateran is the second church of Christendom, basically, but it's a sort of it could be argued that it's first above St Peter's, depending on whether you care that the Pope resides sort of above St Peter's, or whether the fact that his cathedra, his main throne, is actually in a cathedral quite a long way on foot from St Peter's. So it depends how you work it. But it's a straight road. Unfortunately, it is an incredibly long road. It is a very long way between them. And so as I was walking, unfortunately, my eyes were looking left and right and left and right and left and right. And those churches that I listed, so you've got, what is that? Lario di Gallino and Sancta Vito and Santa Alfonso. Those are all on this road between the first cathedral and the second cathedral. And I just veered off there and went to Piazza, what's his name? Victor Emmanuel. Vittorio Emanuele, yes. He was there. I think there were 3 kings of Italy, if I remember rightly, and he might have been the second or the third. I think there was Emmanuel I, Emmanuel II, and Umberto something. Anyway, this was a garden basically in his honour, and it was quite large, and it was, you know, reasonably okay. And I also saw Santa Eusebio, which seemed to be again a monastic community, so I didn't actually manage to get inside that, but that is on the Vittorio Emanuele Piazza. And then on the way back I cut through to Piazza Dante, which is closed, unfortunately, and that's when I went back to the main road and ended up at St John Lateran. And I don't like St John Lateran very much at all, to be totally honest with you. It had a museum which I didn't go into. I don't know if it was open or not. The access to it was through this gift shop, and they were sort of trading through this gift shop. But the area with the museum seemed to be closed off, and they didn't seem to be offering the tickets. So I didn't sort of inquire about that. Nobody else went in, and the gift shop was quite busy. So I think that might have been closed. But that looked to be quite large. So, you know, unfortunately I didn't get to see that. I also, you know, here we are, Scala Santa, and I think that's the Holy Stairs. That was a church that was basically right next door to St John's, but it was closed. It had an amazing staircase going up one side and this beautiful sort of, not fresco, but I don't know what you call it, almost a sculpture outside it. I took pictures of it, but I couldn't get into it, so that was not, you know. It had a cloister, which you had to pay extra for, and I did that, and the cloister was okay, I suppose. I just didn't like it particularly. It wasn't the only thing that was good about St John Lateran, was that the actual throne of the papacy is there, and it's in the far end, almost in this little alcove, almost sort of tucked out of the way.